rain delay, 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 radio, 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 rain delay, radio.
Aduh, milai itu la mela tu cair kerja toli murli.
Rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay.
And welcome to the first episode of Rain Delay Radio. This is your producer, DeBard. The host, actual host, Slander Bob is on here with me. Hi, Slander Bob.
Hello, what's up, everybody? Howdy.
Hey, Slander Bob. This is Governor Rocknar from Sportsland.
Welcome, everyone.
Well, hey, we've got 4 people listening now. Hi, Space Bitch.
4. Holy crap.
Welcome to our pilot episode.
Okay, yeah, it's telling me if I want to tone police people. It's just like, no.
This is our goofing up episode to see how things work.
I'll let you handle the chat. In fact, I can even throw that up onto the screen. Where are my manners? Let's throw that up on there. Where's my live stream?
Hello, Space Bitch.
Oh, we're doing fine. We're still trying to get the chat up on here.
You're welcome to come in. If you have Twitter, we can send you a link to the Discord room and get you in here.
I can put a link in the description if you guys want.
Sure.
Alrighty, let me do that.
So we're going to have a kind of a debate. Is Ambien a pill that makes you racist?
I don't think I've ever heard that one, man.
Where did you hear that from?
That's Roseanne's defense for the tweets that she sent.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy. It's not good. It's not. Hold on.
Descriptions.
It's like, here, I'll go ahead and read this article from
Go for it.
USA Today. Because it seems really funny that, she's trying to blame this on pills.
All right. It's a good thing that studio mode's on. And...
Okay. Ambien maker to Roseanne. Racism is not a side effect of our drug. Sleeping drug Ambien can cause a host of side effects, but it's unlikely racism could be categorized as one, as Roseanne Barr claims. Tuesday, the comedian wrote in a since-deleted tweet that, quote, Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equal VJ. The VJ stood for Valerie Jarrett, an Obama White House aide. This led to the cancellation of her hit ABC show Roseanne and an apology from the comedian, who said at one point she was, quote, Ambien tweeting in another social media post that has since been removed. Sanoff, who makes Ambien, tweeted a response Wednesday morning. While all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of any Sanoff medication. Dr. Rachel Salas, Associate Professor of Neurology in the Sleep Medicine Division at Johns Hopkins Medicine, said, people could text or tweet while on Ambien and not remember, end quote. She advises people to avoid sleeping near their phone or electronics while taking sleep medication. That's interesting, but, that seemed like a pretty detailed tweet to be sending out, especially if you're sending out an equal sign. You have to think to send out that.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, that made it worse. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to resize the chat widget so we can get the YouTube audience in on the fun.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, I don't think that there's anything I could think of relating to like the sleep cycle or anything like that that might cause somebody to exhibit that sort of behavior just out of the blue. I mean, to be fair, it is Valerie Jarrett. I mean, I'm sorry, you just got a thick skin when you have a face like that.
I'm out of the loop. I didn't even see the tweets. I just heard about it.
Yeah, and ABC just decided, okay, we're just going to go ahead and cancel her show. It makes me wonder, did Roseanne plan this? I mean, obviously, everybody else was on board for the Roseanne reboot, except Roseanne. So when Roseanne sees an opportunity, I'm sorry, it must have cut out on me. Okay, but when Roseanne sees an opportunity to, get out of her show, she's going to take it, I think. I think that this was carefully planned, and basically she knew what she was tweeting. She knew it would get her fired, and she's counting on this. She doesn't want to do this reboot.
I mean, especially with when the whole Trump controversy at the beginning, that kind of definitely let some red flags go off, and you put it that way.
I don't think Trump's going to be able to save her on this one. And in fact, if I were the co-stars on the Roseanne reboot, I would be talking to a lawyer about a possible class action lawsuit against Roseanne because she just cost us our jobs.
Yeah, and a shitload of money.
But, there's probably some loophole in the contract that says that ABC can terminate this contract for any reason at any time, and you can't do jack squat about it.
Hold on. Let's see if I can reload the presence here.
Hey, what's up, space bitch?
Hey!
Hey!
Yeah, I apologize for
Hey!
our presence indicators cutting out there. We're still filling up air. Don't worry about that, but something happened when I enabled the chat browser source, like it overwrote the other browser source or something.
Okay. So how's it sound, everybody? Are we coming through loud and clear?
Yeah, you're coming in good on your end.
Yeah, I'm getting signal of around -10, so we're coming in pretty clear.
Right on.
I mean, yeah, that last pop came in at like -9, so we're doing all right.
Yeah, I put up a couple of sound deadening blankets in my room. I don't know if it's making a difference on my end.
Yeah, I should have put up my baffle before I started. I'm sorry. Let me just put that into place right now. I was so busy prepping for the audio or for the visual part that I forgot about the audio part.
Like the channel AVE, Arduino versus Evil says, you gotta piss with the cock you got.
Yep. In my case, this just happens to be a cat bed what I flipped over sideways.
Hey, it works.
It does work. It does work.
I'm going to change the title of the green room to On the Air and just flip it around.
Yeah.
Any objections?
No, none for me.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta reset the presence widget anyway, so we can just go to on air anyway. Just set up
Change that green room.
string kit here. Hopefully I can get the presence markers back on so that, oh boy. On the air, yeah, that's exactly the one I want. And we should be able to be good to go. Hold on, there we go. Oh. Hold on, it says
Hey,
that was working.
Yeah, I think, did you promote her to inmate? Wait, where is Space Bitch? She left.
Oh.
Oh. Shit.
No, that's okay. That's okay. You know, you don't have to hand out
Right.
wrenches.
Well, she's still watching.
Just keep the show going.
Yeah.
But the main thing I think this whole kerfuffle is just that, oh no.
Freedom of speech is not freedom from consequence.
Well, it's more or less, how do I put this? The studio was already taking a big risk rebooting a series that had lapsed out of relevancy. It's kind of more or less that Roseanne Barr's political activism spawned the resurgence of her career, and not so much that she was getting actual gigs. When she comes along and she starts making, you know, I understand. It's just, I would hope people have thicker skin about these things, but in some cases people just can't handle it and they want to take their ball and go home. And Valerie Jarrett chose to take her ball and go home and then call the ABC execs and get Roseanne shit canned.
Well, I think that Matt Jones on KSR brought up an interesting point this morning, and he said that, you know, Roseanne, that show shows an actual working class family, and that's something you don't see on TV anymore, is, you know, working class families. Usually if it's a working class family, they're portrayed as just downright stupid, like the McPoyles on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something like that.
Right.
But you're seeing this huge cultural backlash against Trump, and if you're not siding with Hillary, then you're with the alt-right, and alt-rights are Nazis, and we can't talk to Nazis.
We can't have that.
We can't have that. You know, God forbid, you know, you should be supporting Trump. It's like, you know, I think that the Clintons did a hell of a lot of damage to the Democratic Party, you know, and they don't realize, well, they probably do realize it, but the damage that they've done to the Democratic Party, this is not the same Democratic Party that you saw in the 1970s. It's not the party of progressives. It's not the party of wanting, you know, equal rights. Well, at the time, equal rights, you know, was kind of a muddled mess. But it's not that party anymore from the 1970s. Now it's just this corporatism Democrats. And people like Magdalene, she really, honestly, genuinely believes in Hillary. I mean, she thinks that, you know, some court is magically going to overturn the 2016 election and appoint Hillary as president because she got 3 million more votes. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen in 2000. Florida recount, even though there was kind of, you know, questionable, you know, methods with the balloting in Florida. But it, you know, in the end, the Democrats just have to learn how to count to 270. And I don't think that that's something that Hillary Clinton knows how to do. She, you know, she knows how to campaign in New York and Los Angeles and Miami, Florida, but that's it. Her message does not take anywhere else. fact, somebody, you know what? Sinatra had a
Well, I
good
think-
picture of him.
More importantly is that the neoliberal economic policies have just done everything to piss off the working class.
Yeah, they support NAFTA, and NAFTA is collapsing the American manufacturing sector. There are no manufacturing jobs.
Well, there are
hardly in this
manufacturing
country.
jobs here. It's just that it's big, expensive stuff. Like, we have an import economy. That's never going to change. It's just that we make very few, very big, very expensive things, as opposed to developing countries that are taking away the lion's share, like China and India, the rising stars, if you will. They're making a lot of very cheap things and basically doing everything they can to lower their trade standards in order to avoid devaluing their currency as a result of the tat that they are producing in order to inflate their economy.
There it is.
And China's manufacturing. I mean, you could go to Alibaba and get like 1,000 T-shirts for like pennies on the dollar.
Oh, that's the beauty of transnationalism. Like, that's never going to go away, even if neoliberalism stops dead in its tracks. Transnationalism is never going to go away.
Here, I got a good picture I'm going to send here.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the StreamKit widget. It kind of crapped out on us. I'm thinking of just making it invisible and transitioning to that. But even then, I just click the transition button and the black box is still there. But it's okay. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, let me put that up. Oh, okay.
On his Twitter today, which was actually, really eye-opening.
Ooh, what's the hot goss on Twitter?
Is sanction settings. Yeah, here it is. There we go. Basically, it's a map of the United States. It's actually two maps of the United States. One shows the red and blue split in the elections, and the other one shows the locations of sanctuary cities.
Yeah, I don't get the sanctuary policy even as a liberal. It seems like it's just lying to people about federal law in order to garner sympathy votes. And that's not right to anyone. Least of all these people coming in under the false pretense that they're somehow going to be granted quote-unquote economic asylum, even though no such thing exists.
What qualifies as economic asylum?
Well, that's the thing. Economic asylum disqualifies the very primary condition of asylum, which is you have fear of jeopardy, or you have jeopardy of life or limb upon repatriation. That, in other words, if they send you back, someone from the government will kill you. And a lot of people don't quite understand that that's the reason why our immigration law has to be as strict as it is. Because if we can't tell the difference between the good guys coming in and the bad guys coming in, then what's the use in having an asylum policy or having a fair harbor for, people who genuinely fear for their lives? You can't dilute that concern by saying, oh, I'm not making enough. We're all not making enough. It seems like a very generic ad misericordium to make.
Well, immigrants, when you immigrate to Canada, for instance, you have to prove to the Canadian government that you have a skill that other Canadians don't have, and that it's in Canada's best interests for them to accept you into their country.
That's a bit more like New Zealand's policy. Canada does a points-based system, much like the UK. In other words, getting married doesn't make you a Canadian citizen. Being born on Canadian soil doesn't make you a Canadian citizen. Being a productive member of the Canadian community makes you a Canadian citizen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And
the thing is that the Canadian government is more than supportive on that end. They've been supportive even under Tory governments. But Trudeau's current, well, I shouldn't say current, ongoing bid to debase immigration law to the point where anybody can come into Canada is a great disservice to not only the idea of, you know, the British Dominion of Canada and currently just Canada as this place where people came to in order to seek out fortune and not be harassed by unscrupulous actors all the time. It just seems like spitting in the face of, you know, is it Samuel Champlain? There's some other notables. I mean, it's definitely spitting in the face of the tax-paying Canadian. There's no doubt about that, because they have to foot the bill for all that mandatory catastrophic coverage, and some of these people just flat out refuse to work. And the government is doing everything in its power to make sure that these people stay, because if they don't, if they end up leaving, then Trudeau has egg on his face, and the Canadians...
And they don't have any income coming in from people who actually have marketable skills.
Well, it's not so much about marketable skills. I mean, you look at Canada's economy, it's been the same pretty much since forever, with the exception being the increased exploitation of the Alberta tar sands. But in general, Canada's economy has been an export economy. They export a lot of green beans, a lot of pork,
hemp. They export hemp.
They export a ton of hemp.
Mm-hmm. Well, not a literal ton, but a figurative ton.
Oh
hemp.
Yeah, we're talking
a
about
lot more than just
millions of metric tons of hemp per year.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get Philo Drummond in, see if he'll join us.
But I think the U.S.-Canada dichotomy is kind of one of those economic teachable moments, because no matter whether you have an import economy or an export economy, it's more about how you manage the economy than whether you're exporting or importing. Because ultimately you have to do both. As Adam Smith wrote, nations live by exchanging. And ultimately...
Right, and if you don't have people buying the Chinesium electronics, they're not going to want to buy the American Boeing aircraft.
Yeah, that's kind of the main thing that throws me for a loop every time I think about it, is how China pretty much has all these industries in its back pocket, but at the same time we also allowed them to take a lot of vested interest in things that would really seem compromising to national security, like the manufacture of the majority of routers on the US market. Like that just smacks of a security concern, and the FBI has repeatedly brought that up.
Didn't that happen under like Obama, I think?
It happens under every president, because our manufacturing sector is so degraded and so debased that we're probably never coming back, at least to those sectors. We're going to maintain the big expensive stuff, and the big expensive stuff is more than enough to keep shareholders happy. It's not enough to keep the working class happy. And
there's always going to be a market. There's always going to be a market for things like, you know, tractors and farm equipment and things like that, things that we manufacture here in the States, at least.
Yeah, we do a lot of the logistics. That's the thing. We have a self-supporting logistical economy, and that cannot be overstated. If we had to import diesel semi-tractor trailers or any of these wide load beds, yeah, we would be up a creek, economically speaking, because someone else would have captured the means by which we exchange within our own state. And that's ultimately what you want to avoid, which is why a lot of countries place a lot of vested interest in logistics and maintaining that, not only that level of infrastructure, but that level of corporate presence that allows people to enter the manufacturing sectors that build these giant behemoths. I mean, they are pretty big. Definitely bigger than the block in my car.
Yeah.
Probably bigger than the cab of my car.
There's an interesting story. I'm connecting here. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Hey, Slander Bob.
Oh, did we lose audio on somebody? Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, he's coming back, I think.
Yeah.
Jackpot.
Okay. So,
Why is it not pasting? Why not paste?
Okay, I'm back, guys.
Okay.
oh, cool. You're coming in
Sorry
loud and
about
clear. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, here's another interesting story that there's a shortage of truck drivers in our country now.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of thinking that demand will get filled fairly soon once LiDAR gets cheaper.
Yeah. Although, who was it that did that test that drove across country? Chris would know. Had a driverless tractor trailer, 18-wheeler, drive all the way across country.
Let's throw that on there. Actually, wait, never mind. So yeah,
No, I'm just
I can
screwing around with
reproduce
my
that.
different audio stuff here, microphone crap, and I just killed all my audio. But I'm back on board now.
Yeah, I know those
Better test around
woes.
anyway.
I mean, we lost the presence markers as soon as I put chat up, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. Let me just try to put another browser source in there and hope that it works.
Yeah, screwing around with my microphone boost. Is the level okay?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
level
it's
is
fine.
perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, I like where it's at now. Good.
Everybody's good where they are. Let me see if I can throw up another browser source and not have this thing just absolutely go crazy on me.
I'll tell you what, while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and read this article from CNBC about a trucker shortage.
Oh yeah,
Retailers are facing a shipping squeeze, and the trucking industry just can't keep up. According to the American Trucking Associations, there's a shortage of roughly 50,000 truck drivers across the country, and it's hitting both businesses and consumers in the wallet. Companies are complaining about how the driver shortage is impacting their business. Meanwhile, the cost of convenient shipping is starting to catch up with consumers. Amazon recently hiked its Prime membership from $119 a year to $99. Recently hiked its Prime membership to $119 a year from $99 a year. The retail giant said one of the reasons for the price jump was increased shipping costs. But the driver shortage isn't just because of demand created by online shipping. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, according to Bob Costello, chief economist at American Trucking Associations. We have a demographics problem. Demand is strong. Trucks haul over 70% of the freight tonnage our average age is very high, and we don't have enough families, or females, I'm sorry, said Costello. So much of it revolves around demographics. To be fair, the trucking lifestyle isn't exactly an easy sell. Truck drivers will work long hours, they're away from home for weeks on end, and oftentimes sleep inside the trucks themselves. Now there's a new technology limiting the hours a truck driver can work in a given day: electronic logging devices. And then there's Elon Musk. He's using Tesla to develop a fully electric semi-truck that could change the industry. He's not the only one looking to disrupt trucking as we know it. Goldman Sachs estimates that self-driving cars could cost American drivers up to 25,000 jobs a month. But the trucking industry isn't quite ready to go autonomous just yet. Driverless trucks are decades away, Costello said. That is not the solution. The ATA says we'll need 898,000 more drivers over the next decade to keep up with growth and demand. It's not exactly clear how the trucking industry is going to shake out. But until the shortage issue is resolved, companies and consumers alike will likely be stuck with the trickle-down effects of the driver shortage. It's getting more expensive to send stuff by truck now.
Yeah, it's kind of, how I put this, it's the service sector equivalent of the Jevons paradox. Like it was that, oh my god, all this stuff's getting really cheap because, you know, Canada's exporting all this diesel, everybody's bringing in diesel. And as soon as more truckers show up, it becomes cheaper to buy those goods, and that means the logistical costs kind of squeeze out people who aren't working in these incredibly long contracts. So
yeah, and if you've ever seen the Danny DeVito movie Hoffa, about the biopic about James Hoffa, it shows that, you know, even then it was a rough business, and the truckers they would have to just pull monster shifts just to get produce, you know, to a grocer without spoiling.
Oh yeah, if we're talking about reefers, then that's never going to go away. Those long hauls are still going to happen just because people need their freeze-dried sushi, or people need their, you know, refrigerated durian, or whatever it is that they need from far away as fresh as possible.
Freeze-dried sushi, that actually doesn't sound pretty bad. That, you know.
Yeah, it's decent. It doesn't quite hold the vinegar, so you have to add that back to the rice in order to make it proper sushi, but it's not bad.
Probably something that, you know, astronauts get on like one day out of the month on the International Space Station.
Yeah, it's more like American airport quality.
Oh, Kroger quality wasn't good enough for them, I see.
Oh, that stuff is alright. It's just, you have to be pretty near the coast. Like, we were a lot nearer, so we could actually get tuna and stuff, but here it's like all California roll, and drives me absolutely mad.
Yeah, I'm lucky where I'm at. I'm right there on the Chesapeake Bay. So.
Oh, yes. Premium price on lobster roll.
Yeah, like when I lived in Texas, it was always questionable where I was going to eat.
Yeah.
In fact, there was one seafood place everybody was raving about. I went there and I was like, this is horrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
It's the last time you'll go to Captain D's.
Captain D's.
Well, that's the thing. I grew up in a
Captain
family.
D's was better in this place, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
I probably would want to go to Captain D's too.
What is the other chain seafood place? Long John Silver's, yeah.
Yeah, Long John's actually started in my hometown of Lexington.
Oh, right, I didn't do that.
But it's ironic that the first ever Long John Silver's is now a beauty parlor in that same building in Lexington. I mean, they didn't even change the building. It still looks like a Long John Silver's.
Yeah. Oh. Let's see. Got anything else out of the headlines here?
Just trying to get my setup over here looking better. I had to get a second screen.
Oh yeah, highly recommend that. I'm working off of a single one, and it's just been making my life hell.
Yeah, I don't like how in Discord you can't like take out certain panels either. I'm trying to get rid of some stuff and it just won't go away.
Oh yeah, that's why I try to get the Stream Kit widget to work, but sometimes Stream Kit will be Stream Kit.
Space Bitch wrote, the first time I tried tripping on Ambien, I had a foot race with a Kenyan guy. Is that racist?
Oh wow.
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
Yeah, I've got to look this up, man. I have not even seen the tweets yet. So was it a series of tweets or just one? Just that one you just said?
Hang on. I could probably, find a link for it. Roseanne deleted.
Images. All right, let's see. Oh, I see it here. Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby.
Whew. Man,
that's not gonna push any buttons.
It's like you just gotta learn to take it on the chin. Getting butthurt that somebody said, "Oh yeah, there's this person," and I just don't disagree. I don't agree with them at all. So I'm gonna attach some pejorative to them. It's not really worth canceling a series over, especially when it's Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me anymore. It was just like, what the fuck?
Senior advisor.
But damn, she has a history of this. Here comes. You know what? Let's save this.
Well, that's what I was saying at first. Like when the first show, when she was a Trump supporter, everybody, on the show, everybody was raising a stink about that. So it kind of seems like what you were saying that, yeah, maybe from the beginning of the get-go, she was trying to have these controversial things going on in the show. That didn't work. So, let's just do put out some offensive tweets and see what happens then.
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah. I can see the CYA. I can see the CYA on ABC's part, but really, I mean, she's a businesswoman. There are a lot harsher things than that said in the boardroom.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm trying to think, was the Duck Dynasty thing worse?
God.
I forgot all about exactly why the guy. He said something homophobic, right? Was that why they canceled him?
Yeah, he doesn't believe that people who are interested in that sort of thing should go to heaven. And you know what?
That's worse.
That's just what it says.
For what would upset people, yeah.
Are you gonna get mad at some guy who's trying to reinvent his yacht club image into this rough, rugged, Bible-thumping fundamentalist for saying that, oh yeah, by the way, the epistles and the gospels also say that these people aren't getting into heaven? And it's like, where's the lie though? It's like, it's reprehensible that it's in the Bible, but where's the lie? That's part of his shtick. That's part of his gimmick. And it seems like people are getting mad for people embracing the gimmick. when really that's all Roseanne had. To be perfectly honest, this was a dodgy reboot at the best of times. And you did mention all the outrage that preceded it, and how the left pretty much would just jump on it whenever they would air a new episode and find something new and problematic to discuss. And it's just like, yes, working class life is problematic. Yes, go back, read the works of Raymond Carver, where he uses a lot of epithets that people would find problematic nowadays. And you gotta keep in mind that that's pretty much the same ethos that these guys claim to have. Is Raymond Carver was a working class academic. He was, sure, he had a language arts degree, he wrote short stories, but he wanted to encapsulate the tribulations of working class life. And even though he was a professor of language arts, he still did a pretty good job of it. I mean, there's a reason why Cathedral will never be problematic. Let me put it that way. Cathedral, even throughout all this SJW nonsense, that will never be problematic. It is the perfect example of a teachable moment in fiction. Well, semi-fiction, because he actually did have a blind friend, and the blind friend actually did, you know, ask him to sketch stuff out, including a cathedral. And so I guess short nonfiction.
Just posted a link on our Discord of another problematic Roseanne Barr tweet.
While you guys are doing that, I'm
Goss fam.
Are you in chat too, Delbert?
I am. Oh, I'm behind the booth, so I'm looking at the channel.
Jump in there so I can make you a moderator, if you don't mind, when you get a chance.
Okay, hold on. Let me jump off of here, switch over to my account. Oh, wait. Never mind. That would terminate the stream. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I don't need a wrench. We're just gonna do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Yeah. I've already lost.
It's impossible not to think about that when anybody says that.
Yeah, I've already lost the voice chat presence markers, so adding anything else is liable to just break the stream. And I know that if you switch accounts while doing anything on any account, it pretty much just kills it.
So don't turn it on. Tear it apart.
Your mic sounds a little better tonight. Did you do something to it?
I just put up a couple sound deadening blankets in my room.
Okay. Yeah, it's still crackling a teeny bit, but not as bad as it was last night.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. We could probably make some impromptu pop shields. That might help. Oh wait, never mind. That would pretty much just involve putting like a piece of pantyhose on top of your monitor, since you're working from an all-in-one. Sorry, I wasn't thinking. But this one isn't popping as much, at least that I'm noticing. Of course, then again, I'm only hearing it as soon as I speak, so not exactly the best monitoring method.
You know, if you look at that tweet that Roseanne Barr sent in 2015, ABC knew what they were getting into by hiring her again.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this up. Let's just hold on. Don't know why I was daydreaming on that.
You're right. Well, they were still doing pretty good in the ratings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the #1 show in the country for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of found its base audience and leveled off a little bit, because apparently those reality shows like America's Got Talent or The Four, you know, whatever. it's easier to have reality like, you know, shows like The Gong Show. But yeah, you don't see too much like scripted television anymore. If it is, it's shit shows like Young Sheldon.
Oh God. Why would you ever make a show about somebody with an incredibly sheltered childhood that's just creatively bankrupt? But I guess the same people who like that like The Big Bang Theory, so not exactly my demographic.
Well, all the major networks, I mean, all their programming is fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of vanity projects with with very little substance anymore.
I mean, Fox has still got the best programming, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm just gonna
I
transition.
mean, I don't watch any of that shit, but
I'm just gonna transition.
But they've got
out.
the one show that refuses to die.
yeah, you're talking about The Simpsons, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Harry Shearer just quit, which that blew me away.
Really?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, he
Couldn't
retired.
negotiate.
20 years. Something like that.
But yeah, I just put up that Roseanne Barr tweet in the stream, so that should make an interesting thumbnail. I'm glad that
This
she
doesn't
hopes
give
all
us-
the Jews leave. That's what I'm really proud. I'm really glad that she hopes all the Jews leave first, and then it gets nuked.
Well, yeah, I guess that.
That's
you
an
know.
ounce of compassion, at least. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna turn that off now and
If
transition.
this doesn't get us a YouTube strike, nothing will.
Right?
Don't worry,
Yeah, you still with us, Sober Twins? I think he is.
Yeah, she is.
Gee,
But
sorry.
she actually has to use the same mic that Dabbard's in the room
Gotcha.
with.
I was going to see if she could just try to post a link in the chat. I want to see if that'll work.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if I'm going to close that out or not. Probably will, but at the moment, no, because nobody's here.
yeah.
Just us.
I was just hoping
I'm one of the
to
users.
add an audience engagement incentive. But you know, if it's just us and we gotta fill air for the first episode, I mean, it's
Yeah,
a first
like I said,
episode.
I put it in beta, just because that's basically what this is, a beta test, just to make sure we get this thing off the ground. And it's up to y'all if y'all want to leave it out or not.
Yeah, I mean, this is okay. I've definitely said worse in front of a hot mic. But yeah, I mean, we can keep the bats going. I'm pretty sure we can just troll all the social medias, find something to fill air with. Rights Amendment, really?
Hey, Randolph, who is that? I'm trying to think of the guy's name. The guy who did all. I'll look for him. There's, he's looking to get involved in the show or start a show, and I'm trying to think of his name. Thomas something.
Ellington?
Yeah, him.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's been on. He's been on Kumite a few times. He's been on Worski a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think wasn't he yelling at Zoom?
Well, everybody was yelling at
Yeah, I
Zoom.
know that. But what was it, the Fallout episode or whatever? I think they actually exchanged the words on stream. I think it was Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas Ellington.
Might as well send out a tweet that we're live.
Yeah, I put a few out.
Okay.
So, did you get a chance to? Have you been listening to any of the new Kumite stuff?
I listened to it yesterday, and it just didn't really catch my interest.
Yeah, it's not doing it for me at all.
No.
Yeah, you gotta really try to keep people at least that many people watching. Wow, and it even captured the aliasing of my cursor. Oh boy.
Yeah, I watched yesterday for a little bit, or listened, and I think they topped it at like about 530 listeners, which is like, usually it was 3,000 people.
Honestly, I'm lucky if I can get double-digit unique impressions on a video. Live streams are just easier to do because you can just slap them up, no editing, as long as you don't waste people's time with the trailer. But, you know, if they need something to listen to in the background, you can always make more content.
Yeah, so while we're here, like, I remember watching some of the episodes of Kumite where they would be able to, like, other users could, like, share screens and stuff like that. That's all OBS?
Oh, yeah. OBS
I need to get
handles...
OBS downloaded.
Yeah,
Maybe at some point this week or this weekend you could help me with it, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are people who've done tutorials. Like, I know Jeff Holiday has a pretty good tutorial series that I've learned from. In fact, most of anything I know about studio mode is from that tutorial.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be too hard. I should be able to export my scene setup and everything, just to give you an idea of what I have going through the pipe. But I mean, even setting up little visual cues like the intro, that wasn't that hard. It was just basically, hey, whenever I go to this scene, play this movie. I mean, it's relatively low maintenance stuff. That's what I love about it. If I could get good enough at it that I could get like triple digit, you know, impressions on a video, that would also be nice. But it's a fun environment to work with, and Streamlabs has their own fork. I use vanilla, but if you want to use Streamlabs OBS and have all that stuff integrated with a nice Chromie package over it, that's a perfectly viable option.
Speaking of Jeff Holiday, has anybody seen the Dr.
Yes, I saw it.
It was a thing of beauty.
I've not seen it yet. I just pulled up the link.
It's worth it. I mean, not only does Jeff Holiday hit it out of the park, the two women that confront the Jilly Juice creator, Mickey and somebody else, I can't remember. They confront her too, and they just let her know, it's like, you know, you didn't, you know, tell us that there would be these extreme health risks. You know, you just said that there would be waterfalls.
Yeah, I think the extreme use of euphemism, if anything, is a sign that she knows what she's putting out there to people is bunk. It's like you don't...
I think here's my take on Jillian Epperly. And Jillian Epperly, she wanted a work from home type job. She didn't want to have to travel. She didn't want to have to go to the office. She didn't want to do factory work or none of that shit. She wanted a work from home type job, and she found some link that, you know, lets you set up a website selling water purifiers. And water purifiers are good, but you need a health kick to go with it. So she came up with this nutty idea of fermenting cabbage juice and adding salt to it.
Yeah, it's like everybody knows the best thing you can ever do with that is you dilute it. Like, you have to dilute the crap out of it before you can pickle back off of it. You can. It's just not recommended. Like, just use pickle juice or just get a bottle of Gatorade. But drinking it in the concentrations that she prescribes, yeah, that will just absolutely tear through your linings. Like, it just dries out the mucus inside you that keeps your body from digesting itself, and yeah, you can suffer a lot of ill effect because of that.
And this is a link that I'm sending on the Discord. This is a screenshot from jillyjuice.com, which shows Cottonelle toilet paper in a nice 12-pack available for sale through Jilly Juice for the waterfalls.
For the waterfalls.
Oh, wow.
No, I better not sing that or we'll get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
For what?
I was going to sing TLC Water. No, I better not do that.
Yeah, you can only do
Yeah,
that like a
10
stinger.
10 or 12 miles away, buddy. I'll be right back, guys.
All
right.
right.
Grab
All
a
right.
drink.
But
Yes, please do.
why would JillyJuice.com make a point to sell toilet paper?
Because she's got to have them coming and going, quite literally.
Yeah, she's got to get them on every end of the transaction. She's got to get them on the water purifiers. She's got to get them on the Himalayan pink salt. And she can't sell cabbage online. She's probably kicking herself going, man, if I could just sell cabbage on this website, I would be set.
Yeah, it's this weird thing where you have these mommy blogger types that get into business and they don't understand that business isn't quite like mommy blogging. In fact, in order to really keep the mommy blog business going, you should hire a publicist. You should hire everybody to do the back end for you. Keep mommy blogging. Keep going to the grocery store. Keep having to do all that, all the stuff you have to do in order to get that mommy blogging material, but keep the business back end kind of as out of the scenes as possible. And ultimately, Joey's just a really egregious example of this kind of mommy blogging marketeer that we've seen proliferate among middle class women. And we have to ask ourselves why specifically, middle class women and to some extent working class women who were victims of this trap back when it was still called Amway and sold out of Battle Creek. Or
Yeah.
Ann Arbor, I should say. Yeah, Ann Arbor. Which, don't hold that against them. That they have university. It's cool. It's just that some very, very unscrupulous marketing majors graduated and were like, yeah, we should totally make a multi-level marketing scheme.
There's this philosophy that doctors cannot be trusted, that the American Cancer Association just wants to give you cancer, that vaccines cause autism. It's basically a discrediting of science in general and common sense.
You want to know why you see that so often? It's not any sort of miraculous thing that's very specific to mommy bloggers. It's kind of just they're hitting, how do I put this? They're hitting the wall of their own ignorance. When they have to deal with people like actual doctors who train for years and dedicate a lot of sleepless nights just to getting that diploma so that they can get the residency and so they can get, their actual license to practice. And they look at that and they just go, well, they did something that's not mommy blogging, so must not be as important.
Yeah, I mean, a doctor is going to test something and test it again and test it again and again and again to get the confirmed results. He's not going to go testing it one time and thinking, oh, well, this works, so let's go ahead and pass this cure on to the world.
Well, that depends on the rate of accurate reporting. But usually the sample vial will be filled with enough sample to do at least 2 tests, just because there's this little thing called Bayes' trap, where if you have a test that's 98% accurate, the first, test, since you have to average out the possibility that, you might not have it and kind of put those two together, it only gives you a 56% chance of actually having the disease, whereas if you do 2 tests and this test is like 98 or 96% accurate, you're well beyond any sort of reasonable margin of error and into statistical certainty.
Yeah, exactly. And Jillian, when she was confronted about this by Dr. Phil, by Jeff Holiday, by the 2 victims, of Jilly Juice, by a trained doctor that Phil brought onto the show at the end of the show, when all of these people confront her, Jillian is just totally defensive and goes, well, you're just part of the conspiracy. Well, you're just part of what's making America sick. She's in total denial about this. She honestly, genuinely believes in this. Now, I don't know whether it's just to make sure that, the sales flow onto her website, but, something's not right there. Some cylinders ain't clicking in her head. You still there?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I was just.
But yeah.
It's very obvious that there's something going on there. I don't know if it's schizophrenia. I don't know if it's a personality disorder. I'm not a trained professional in the field, and there are far better sources to ask. But as someone who have once read the DSM-5, it becomes pretty obvious that even if you can't put down a specific diagnosis, that there's an axis there, that there's definitely a personality axis there.
Yeah, and also on an interesting thing on the site is she sells memberships for $30 a year to Jilly Juice. I mean, I'll give $30 a year to the Church of the Subgenius more than I would to Gillian Epperly, I think.
Well, that's the kind of the funny thing that, how do I put this? She really expects people to come together that much to socially bond over what would normally just be thrown out after the sauerkraut's made.
Yeah.
And that's what strikes me is almost like a conceit or a simile of some sort of hyperbole, or not, maybe not hyperbole, microcosm. Anyways, there's some indication of the whole within the part. So I guess, yeah, that would be microcosm or introspection. And it's just like, why is she glorifying refuse? If you're anywhere close to being, having all your cards in your deck, you have an avoidance to refuse. In fact, I have a pathological avoidance to refuse. I have a pathological fear of being buried in clutter, and it physically revulses me to see things that are cluttered or disorganized.
Oh God, my house must have triggered the fuck out of you.
Oh yeah, there were times that I just spent the whole day crying.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You take it on the chin. You shoulder on.
Yeah. There were days I spent crying about my house too. Believe me, I hated that house. I loved it, but I hated it.
Yeah, it was definitely way outside of our price range.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we live here in Colorado instead of, I don't know, because it seems like this place, you don't really, I don't know, unless you're dealing with big time stuff, there's not a lot of, what is it, like petty crimes, at least as far as like property violence or personal violence.
There was that one time, remember we were at the Choke and Puke, and I watched a woman just steal an entire 48 case of Pepsi and just drive off with it, remember?
Oh, I saw that go down. I was like, did she buy those? Wait, she's taking the carts. You can't take the carts. I made it a point.
Because my old slow way training kicked in, and I was like, I got the license plate number, and I got it to the people working over at Choke and Puke.
Yeah, that's always the best thing to do. Just get the license number. A lot of states have a do not pursue policy specifically because chasing down these people could result in serious traffic fatalities.
Yeah.
So they just wait until they get home with their ill-gotten gain and then bust them. Because that way they're safe, they're sound, they're in a relatively stable environment, they're not in a moving vehicle where they could potentially injure anyone. It's a lot easier way to process criminals than the old high-speed chase Steve McQueen route.
I think, well, especially, on Troy Avenue, you don't want to chase Troy because both the cop car and the, fleeing car could end up like really seriously fucking up their vehicles.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's just a skip up from the highway, so you could actually curb off on Troy if you were going at a high enough speed and just jump it all the way onto 50.
And then zoom past that other choke and puke, which is like 200 yards down the road for some reason.
Well, you wouldn't be on course for that. You would be on course for the subdivision behind Oakshire Boulevard.
Oh, I was thinking,
That's if you get that far, considering that's such a curve.
Chavez.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about taking the road. I was thinking about, what would happen in a pit scenario, worst case. Like if somebody failed to pit and the driver just accelerated out and curbed. But yeah, we got pretty much everything we need, even though it's not that close to the inner city. It's not inner city, it's just inner city.
I'm back, guys.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Nothing. Freaking terrible out here in the garage, man. Sauna.
In that case, let's pick through the current events. Let me see. Thought I had that open already.
Has anybody went and seen the Solo movie yet? I refuse.
Yeah,
I refuse to.
I can't.
I can't do it, man. It looks horrible.
I mean,
Sam, Gabe actually said that he got to see like daily of it over at Fox.
Who did?
And a friend of ours who is a VFX artist.
Okay.
And he got to see dailies of it, as it was being filmed. And he and his friends were just laughing their asses off at how bad the acting was.
Yeah, man. I mean, I saw like a clip of it. I think it was on like Colbert one night, and it just, I was appalled by it, man.
Wow. Even Glover?
Well, Glover's the real star of that movie. I mean, it really should have been called Lambda. It probably
should have been called Derek Comedy 2, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Or like Science Camp 2. Because that was his original comedy troupe. I mean, if anything, he should have warmed up back into acting through some other vehicle and then gone into solo. Because Lando Calrissian is a pretty big role for a supporting character.
Right.
And you can't be off doing trap hip-hop and come back straight into acting like nothing ever happened. That's a perishable skill. I mean, you can debate everything else on merit, but according to occupational psychology, acting, the conveyance and emoting, those are perishable skills. So him coming right back into solo, I'm just like, why would you do that to what you presumably left of your career? Why would anybody do that?
Just the fact that Ron Howard directed it turned me off, man, because Ron Howard in Star Wars does not fucking compute in my brain.
It's better than Rian Johnson.
Well, you remember, it was actually going to be the Lego movie directors that were directing this.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know that.
And apparently they pissed off Kathleen Kennedy to the point where she pitched a fit and kicked out the Lego movie directors and brought in Ron Howard. I think this was all because of Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford probably went into this thinking that, Ron Howard was a shoo-in to direct this. Somebody probably told Harrison Ford that, oh yeah, we've got Ron Howard on board with this. He's going to direct this. And then he meets up with the Lego movie directors, and then he reads the script that the Lego movie directors are doing, and he's going, this isn't what I signed up for. And he's just, being a spoiled little baby, throwing his temper tantrums, and calling Kathleen Kennedy every 5 minutes, going, well, what is this movie that they're making? This isn't Star Wars. And Kathleen Kennedy sees the dailies and she doesn't like them, so she kicks out the one creative force that actually could have made this a good movie.
I'm going to be fairly straight on this. I mean, the original cut of 4, the original theatrical release of 4, Han Solo is not the kind of character you would see in a backstory and be like, hey, that's the good guy. It's like he shoots first.
Yeah.
He is an unrepentant, cold-blooded murderer the first time we meet him, and then his arc, like, that's the thing that makes 4 through 6 so, I guess...
iconic.
Yeah, iconic, is that everybody has an arc. It's just like stretching out the Forbidden Palace, or what is it?
Right,
Hidden Fortress.
Luke's arc. He becomes a simple farmer, or he goes from being a simple farmer all the way to Jedi Master.
Yeah, in that case, it was somebody essentially, or correctly, reclaiming their honor in Hidden Fortress. And
Han Solo finds his redemption because he's normally a thief and a scoundrel, and if it weren't for the Death Star intercepting him with the tractor beam, Han Solo probably would have sold out Obi-Wan and Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's done worse to garner Jabba's temporary favor, or at least detente. And it's just like, where is all this lore that you get delivered in like a few lines? It's just there. Why do we need an entire backstory over it when the character's intent and who they were before the events happened is already clearly demonstrated? That's how you do in media res storytelling. This is creatively bankrupt, and someone needs to light a fire under Kathleen Kennedy's ass and just remind her, hey, the reason why Star Wars is great is because everyone enters into the story flawed. The saga is about flawed people in this massive solar system of a cinematic universe. You have a lot of material to work with. You have a lot of grievances and sins and peculiarities to impute upon your characters so that they can redeem themselves. And that's the beauty of Star Wars, is that it is the Greek drama, is like the quintessential Greek drama, but also with Japanese storytelling elements and pulp serials and just throwing everything into it. Kitchen sink storytelling, but with science fiction.
What did you think of the other Star Wars movie that came out last summer?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. What do you think of that?
I haven't seen that yet either, but I actually kind of had good hopes for that.
I liked it. I thought it was good, and I figured that's what they were going to do, is do these little offshoots in between, movies from the original, series. But when I saw it, J.J. Abrams, this is going to be fucking horrible. Like, they haven't learned their lesson from the prequels,
Yeah,
I thought they did.
I think that's kind of what they were going for. Is they didn't realize that these are nerds. I mean, granted, Star Wars is the comfort fiction of comfort food of sci-fi fiction or sci-fi film, but it still has a very dedicated fan base. And when you do things like break canon in Rogue One, it doesn't engender good hope for these spin-offs. Not to mention when you have the main canon itself, aside from those, you know, little morsels that are supposed to be teasers for what's to come. If you have endless B plots without any real resolution, written by a guy who very clearly is trying to garner sympathy through storytelling rather than tell me a story about flawed people eking out an existence in a hostile universe filled with magic and also technology somehow at the same time. It's like, that's all I want. I just want you to put the magic here, the technology here, and out comes storytelling magic. I mean, that's all I want. I just want the storytelling. I don't need the identity politics. I don't need, you know, people constantly in reminder of their status in the world, because I go to cinema to escape that.
Right.
It's like, I can sit through Independence Day quadrillion, but I can't sit through another Star Wars movie because I have no expectation of Independence Day being good. I expect it to be schlock. It is schlock, and I can just riff it with my friends at the drive-in.
But the sequel makes the original Independence Day look like a masterpiece by comparison.
Yeah, I think Bill
I'm not
Pullman
even fucking
needed.
the sequel man at all. I just, you know, it's not interested. I mean, the original one was bad enough. I was like,
Yeah, all I have to say is that Bill Pullman deserved a better death scene than essentially just being loaded into a recliner and inserted into a CGI alien queen. Like that's pretty much his death scene. I'm sorry, spoilers.
oh, fuck it. It's just us.
But it's just
Have you
like,
ever heard the
needs-
Opie and Anthony stream where they talk about Independence Day?
No, I haven't.
God damn, that's funny. We should pull that up.
Yeah.
oh man,
They
Kumi's
make fun
lawyers
of,
would have a field day with you if we replayed that.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because I mean that's basically all their shows are uploaded like almost automatically from Sirius, and they stay up. You know. They don't
Okay,
really
so as
upload
long
like that.
as long as they have something saying, yeah, okay, you can reproduce this, so that people know what they're talking about. Because otherwise, I have to like edit it out so that only the parts that were actually contextualized or transformed can be included. It's,
You just can't go. You can
It's a
play it.
messy
You just
thing.
can't go like selling it because it's like not your
Yeah.
work to sell.
if it's provided gratis by the company, then yeah, I'll make sure to include a link, or
Oh.
you can include a link, whoever does the link stuff.
You're gonna throw the link for it in the chat right now. It is one of the funniest. It's one of the funniest episodes, and they spend a good portion of it making fun of Judd Hirsch and how over the top Jewish he is throughout the whole thing. Like he's my David. You know, I'd be dead if it wasn't for my David.
Yeah.
And I think
And strangely enough, he survives the second movie.
you know, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think Jim Norton calls his character Hebe Kikeberger.
Yeah. I mean, I like Judd Hirsch, but that was just.
Oh, fucking.
They should
my
have
God.
had him just go into
Where's the
makeup
outrage over that?
late
'Cause
to
that was
fill in,
completely-
and then just walk out and deliver his lines, and then walk back in, take off the tefillin. I mean, to be honest, if he wants to make it full blown stereotype, just like kippah, tefillin, do all that stuff, might as well.
I mean, if that came out now, I would think there'd be a lot of outrage over the way that character was portrayed.
They pretty much bring it all back in two. So.
Oh, really? Well.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind it, but at the same time, it's just like, what is this? What is this? I didn't go to cinema to go to shul. I went to cinema so I could stay out of shul.
There's also something that bugs me about Independence Day resurgence is that you see Earth basically reverse engineering the aliens, and suddenly there's like a huge base on the moon now, and they've got like a space station that is monitoring and keeping a watch out, and you've got all these neat spacecraft. I mean, really neat spacecraft that that Earth has developed using alien technology that take you from ground to the space station in under a minute. And then in all of that, Judd Hirsch is driving a hoopty.
Well, I think that's the film's greatest strength and its greatest flaw is that it does all that world building in like 15 minutes, but at the same time, it has to do all that world building in 15 minutes. Yeah. And then afterwards, it's just kind of like, oh, we can't use this anymore because the magic talking bubble said so. So they basically shuck all the CG, all the cool CG away, and you can tell when the bad CG starts. It's almost like they had this in development hell, got a hold of a good CG department that could do full animatics to proof of concept, take it all through the stages to get to the finished product, and then you kind of see this thing that looks like it might be acceptable in a shop trailer, like something that they would put together to pitch the movie, which I don't understand because this thing was a major release, so there's really no need for any of that. It's just
I feel sorry for Robert Loggia.
Oh yeah. I don't think anyone has had a more indignant final scene, or a more, what's the word, humiliating, depressing. It just beggars belief that they would bring somebody who they knew couldn't actually do anything much other than maybe
stand and wave.
Yeah, maybe sit and wave for a few minutes. It's just like, why even include that character? It's okay if people don't return. It's all right if you have a Charles Cunningham in the middle of a former war zone, because that happens in real war too. People go missing, even rear admirals.
The one person who knew it was going to be a piece of shit, Will Smith.
Yes. I think that whatever the good Lord Xenu has put into his tiny Thetan brain has somehow helped him to avoid anything crappier than the Omega Man remake. And I'm thankful to Elron and Scientology for that.
I actually like the I Am Legend movie. I've seen that once. I really don't need to see it again, mind you. I mean, if I really want to watch the Omega Man, I'll watch the Omega Man. But I didn't think it was a bad movie. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was bad altogether either. I mean, Will Smith.
I'll tell you the one thing that killed it. The absolute one thing that killed it. Focus groups, because once they showed focus groups, the actual ending to literally every time that story has been retold in cinematic medium from when it started out as was it novella? It's just like this.
Yeah, the Richard Matheson. Yeah, the Richard Matheson original story. Yeah.
Yeah, the original makes it very clear that this person is playing against stacked odds, and also might be in a morally ambiguous actor or unreliable narrator. But the focus group had the expectation that Will Smith and all the diegetic stuff that follows his character would somehow also benefit from being entirely in earnest, like no unreliable narrator, no I am Jack's disappointment sort of moments. It's just played straight, and it's played way too straight, and it deviates from the source material. So everything before the ending, before the final act, is passable. The CG is passable. Everything, blocking, acting, it's unremarkable. But once you take away the impact of the ending, once you take away the idea that someone might be entirely justified in their actions, but also be a morally dubious actor. Like, if you remove that, you remove the entire theme of the story. You just basically turn this into a giant into a cosmic brick joke, instead of, oh yeah, we can have different perspectives on the world, and sometimes those perspectives can lead us to do the worst of things for the best of intentions. And if you don't have that,
towards the end of I Am Legend, Neville, Will Smith's Neville was realizing, hey, I'm actually, abducting these victims against their will and subjecting them to all kinds of experiments.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. That's what ruins it, because tragedy is built on irredeemability. You cannot have an irredeemable protagonist, or you cannot have a redeemable protagonist in a true tragedy. They're always irredeemable, whether it's the fact that they simply hate the world and want to destroy it, or they act on their hubris. The idea is that these people are set on a path with fate, and fate is going to steamroll the piss out of them. And that's what makes tragedy great. Now,
the Charlton Heston version of Omega Man is a great movie.
Yeah, because you got to be able to play Neville straight. Like,
yeah,
Neville is straight. The plot isn't straight. The plot is an unreliable narrator. But you gotta be able to have the conviction to go, yeah, I'm gonna totally do these morally dubious things. My character's going to do these morally dubious things, but I'm gonna play it 100% like he is in the right. You gotta get in that think space, the Stanislavski method. And I don't think Will Smith is a good enough actor to do that, which is why I kind of suspect the focus story or focus group Urban Legend was a bit of bollocks. But that's apparently
there was rumor that before Will Smith was cast, they were going to go for Arnold Schwarzenegger in that.
Oh God! Could you imagine a former bodybuilder running? I mean, he can run for a little bit, like he can run onto a pad and then do a leap, and that's pretty impressive, but he's like in his late 50s at that time.
Yeah.
He's in his early 60s now, isn't he?
No, he's in his early 70s.
Oh, God. I feel ancient in comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, he still manages to pull it off. It's just at that particular build and that particular age, I would definitely not cast him as an action star. There's a reason why when he did the little acting he did post-Governator, he stuck to dramatic roles that didn't require a lot of physically demanding anything. Just a lot of talking and walking, not a lot of running.
The scene that he had, yeah, he is born July 30th, 1947, age 70 years. Wow.
Yeah.
But the scene that he had in the Roland Emmerich, Dean Devlin movie 2012, where basically he's the governor of California as the world's going to shit.
Yeah, I mean, by the time that movie came out, that wasn't a good reference. It's just like you could just left that out. It's kind of like how in Hunt the Freeman, which is another piece of crap, they could just left out the Keemstar as president parts. You know, they didn't master them worth a damn anyway, so it's not like it sounds like it's coming through a radio. It sounds like it's being played off of Audacity.
Right.
And the production values, I gotta tell you, a lot of these really bad movies, a lot of these really bad games, the reason why you can sit through them and try to get to the little kernels of corn buried in the shit to have something to talk about is because the production values are fairly consistent. But nowadays, since they're shopping out to the lowest bidder, it's so inconsistent in Hollywood nowadays. And I almost feel like they don't have a new star gallery built up. Like they're going to people who have established careers for things that would normally require an ingenue cast rather than an ensemble cast. And it just doesn't, or maybe a debut cast would be a better turn of phrase. But a lot of these projects that they're wanting to get off the ground, like Solo, for example, they could have not cast Donald Glover. They could have just buried this movie and had this be the movie that these guys will write on their CV for the next year and then never write about it ever again. And they could have done that. But instead they chose to make another high gloss, overproduced nothing burger that breaks canon yet again. It's like Disney got rid of the extended universe, but it can't keep up with the regular universe. If you take over a property, you have to be able to keep up with the continuity, or at least retcon it within some other work, rather than just going, hey, this is Han Solo. He's totally different from the bloodthirsty monster he started out in episode 4 for some reason. There's no reason for that. He's supposed to be likable now. It's like, no, that's the whole point. He dicked over his friends. He dicked over Lando. Yeah, everybody hates him. Everybody hated him. And it's like, Lando negotiated this thing because he didn't want Planet to turn up like Alderaan, and he just so happened to know that he could fix it. That he could fix the Han Solo situation. It's just a lot of double cross, a lot of political intrigue.
I think there's also this weird, multiculturalism enforced, focus group that said, okay, well, we need Lando to be pansexual. What the fuck does that even have to do with the original story?
Yeah, man.
You can have fluff. I mean, be fair. In the real world, where there's an actual gender dichotomy, or at least a sexual dichotomy, the concept of pansexuality doesn't make sense. But in a world of aliens and robots and stuff, then yeah, it does. I'm not saying that it's good or a creative direction that I would go in, even as someone who likes that sort of thing. But I have a hard time believing that they entered this into anything other than a pander. Like, this is just absolute shit tier pandering, and I feel insulted.
Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6, that was an actual story. That was an arc. That was good, triumphing eventually over evil, overcoming great odds. The rest of the movies have become a product. It's like an Android or an iPhone. It's the new Star Wars Solo movie, now with pansexuality.
Yeah, Yeah, I think Rich said something pretty similar. Or not Rich. Try to remember. Someone on Red Letter Media had couched the concerns when they were doing the review for The Last Jedi, and it's just essentially it's a product now. I mean, I don't mind that it's commoditized. It should be commoditized. People should be able to make money off of their intellectual property. But when it comes down to it, if you pull a complete Maddox, piss off your fans, and try to virtue signal instead of playing your role, you're going to lose the audience every time.
Yeah, and what's going to happen with the 9th and final movie in the main story? What, is Rey going to be able to overcome evil, or is Kylo Ren going to take over the universe?
Well, that's the thing. As far as I could tell, Rian Johnson on Twitter was pretty much going, I want to make I want to reboot right now. I call Mulligan. So even he's not going to be listing this on his CV after another 2-3 years. People are just going to remember, hey, you did that thing. It was shit. We didn't like it. It kind of ruined our enjoyment of the franchise and no longer allowed us to be amenable to your commoditization of said franchise. I mean, that's the thing. People have every right to make a living off of their intellectual property if they can make it interesting, if they can make people buy into it. And if you substitute this grandiose world of science fiction, alien species, robots, I mean, we're talking all levels and manners of sentience crammed into what is essentially a solar system, that makes for some pretty good storytelling. Go with those bits. Like, I don't even need the CG. If you can do it with practical, and a lot of this was done back in the day with practical effects. It's not like a lot of these alien species violate the anthropomorphic principle anyway. So, I don't know. It feels like it takes me out of anything I could suspend my disbelief on. Like, I see aliens and robots, and a long, long time ago, a galaxy far, far away, and then I see social justice, and it sucks me out. Like, just pulls me right out of that experience. Maybe they're making more money off of this, but the box office returns seem to say otherwise.
Just to the point now where it holds no interest for me. I mean, I watched The Force Awakens. I thought, okay, it's not that bad, but it's certainly, not doing any favors by basically copying the entire story for A New Hope.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect any more from JJ. I was just kind of like, okay, so you set up these things. That's cool. It's cool that you just retold this prior story in the franchise, but left all these open ends. And then he proceeds to tie said ends in the most cat-candid way possible. It's like he just attached Ryan to the project, went, okay, here's the story Bible from the last episode, bye, and just shut him in a room for like a year with nothing but tapioca pudding and flat root beer, because that's all Rian Johnson ever deserves.
There's one image that I saw on Twitter a few days ago, and I'm trying to find it, but now I can't. And it's the Star Wars crawl opening, words would just, flow to the back of the screen kind of thing. But it says, we have updated our terms and conditions. Your privacy is of great concern to us, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I can't find it because,
It's after,
Google's just not.
it's like the shareholders have a vote on it. They vote to change a few clauses, and then just because of mandatory reporting, they have to tell you. Even though it could be some legalese in the bylaw that just so happens to affect this clause in the terms of service. They just have to tell you anyway, and they don't even have to do a really good job of making a citation. It's not like, oh, we're going to lock this into version control, and then we're going to set the change log, because that would be way too much work.
Yeah.
So instead, it's just the same generic message, because shareholders can't into computers, yo. I mean, it would be nice if we had more IT shareholders, because then they'd just be like, oh, we have this great idea. Why don't we just write out, prototype in UML or C++ or whatever they want to, and then just hand it to the boffins, and the boffins go, all right, this is pretty bad code, but I think I know what you meant to say, so I'm going to import a whole bunch of libraries and work with those instead of your shitty, crufty code, and make a better product, and then deliver that back to you, and you're going to go, yes, that's great. Like, that's how it should work in an ideal world, but it doesn't, because, again, shareholders can't into computers.
Okay, here's one.
I apologize for being so silent late tonight, guys.
It's okay. It has.
Things are looking up. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I at least got the bumps done. I composited the intro. We got a half-functioning podcast, so.
And we're getting listeners.
Yeah, impressive. Are good.
I think it's just us in here.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's cool, man. That's kind of how, just to kind of get the feel of it and everything.
Yeah, you gotta definitely dip into the pool at some time.
So, what do you? So, what you do for a living, like programming and stuff?
I mostly just work with multimedia. I'm trying to branch out, but this is just a few more feet on the reel, or rather, maybe a few more hours of experience working with OBS and actually getting it to sound somewhat decent. I'm hoping. I'll go back and listen to some portions in post just to make sure.
Have you done any like special effects, like CGI type stuff?
Whew. That's the thing. CGI is a team effort. I mean, you can do motion tracking and rough sketching of things with very minimal setup, but as far as making it look good, you need a team working all hours and
I bet, absolutely.
a render farm, and it's just like, that's not really a field I can just pick up and go into. I have people who say that's relatively easy to get into, and I'm just like, that doesn't really make any sense.
The reason I ask is just if you have any, like, I got a couple of friends who have a film company in Texas. They're always looking for like people to help out and like new talent and stuff. They're not like a big studio or anything, but they're always like working with people doing collaborative efforts and things like that. So
yeah, I mean, I got OpenShot, I got OBS, I got pretty much anything I can get my mitts on for free because I'm cheap.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, and as long as I can grind that axe, I just keep grinding it. Although sometimes that does require taking a bit of a break. But for the most part, I try to keep a little busy.
Hey, so what do you guys know about this Subgenius or being worked on?
Oh.
The documentary movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to be over at Wisteria this year, filming than X-Day's ceremony.
Yeah, they when I went the first year, there was a guy with a 3D camera, and he filmed all the baptism stuff and a few other things, and that was supposed to be put into some kind of film, and nothing ever came of it.
Right.
Contact that guy and have any of that footage used. I'm sure they might.
Yeah, it's always the weird thing is it's like they got a list pretty much of releases, so it's just like just cut the video, just splice it together however you want, put over whatever overlay on it, and push it out the door at this point.
I'm so out of the loop, like, because when's the last big thing that the Stang and them guys, I mean, like, have done? It was like Revelation X is the last book they put out, right?
Yeah, in all fairness, you have to do pretty well to have a publisher keep you on. Certainly somebody is learning that the hard way with their F asterisk Wales fiasco. 50,000 in advance. He's probably never going to see another contract from Simon and Schuster again.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just couldn't make it. He couldn't even make up the paltry advance that he got off of that, which they knew was going to bomb the moment that he had to change the title to something that nobody is going to stock in their store. It's just not going to happen.
Was there a different title in the beginning?
The title for the third book was originally supposed to be the best book in the universe. However, a dickhead bought the IP, or rather bought the domain, best book in the universe and thebestbookintheuniverse.com, and just basically redirected to the Dick Show. So rather than try to fight a protracted court battle over what was very obvious branding and something that I think Mr. Ozunian is really regretting not doing right now, he instead decided to file a frivolous lawsuit in a jurisdiction he doesn't live in, and in which only one of the defendants listed lives in. It's weird. But there are things really salty, really butthurt things that people will do just to get a taste of the limelight. I've been mostly just browsing Kiwi, getting that lolcow salt, you know. It's good for the diet.
Speaking of books, I just scored a Negativland book, the letter U, numeral 2, about the whole court case with SST Records and U2. Are you familiar with any of that?
Oh, you mean the album These Guys Are From Scotland and Who Gives a Fuck?
No, well, originally it was called, they put a record out called U2, and it had a U2 plane on it, and it said Negativland, and they got sued by Island Records because they thought U2 fans would look at it and think it was a U2 record.
Yeah, the Idiot in a Hurry test, that definitely meets it, which is why it went with the alternate title. Well, actually, no, that was the Casey Kasem mashup.
Yeah, that's the album. That's the record. They put that out, and SST was the label that put it out, and they ended up suing Negativland. It's a really nasty case, but there's a whole, probably about the size of Revelation X. You know, they have a paperback book of that size that I just got for like $4. It comes with a music CD and everything from Negativland. It's really cool. It goes through Charles has all the cease and desist orders printed out, and just tons of information about how the whole thing went down and the conversations with Island Records, and it's a really cool book. I love buying stuff off Amazon.
Yeah, that's, oh my, you've hit my sweet spot. I have a thing for process. Just so much salt in the courtroom. Lol suit is a godsend. Like, if we ever
What are you
need
talking about?
lolsuit.com, if I remember correctly, it's essentially a collection of vexatious and spurious litigation and just details legal process of these people. Like, for example, Ozonian v. Herrera in New York, that's on lawsuit. All the filings. Asterios Kokkinos, Dick, or rather I should say Dax as Dick, because it's weird how they filed it.
Did they have the Lindsay Lohan versus Rockstar Games?
Oh yeah, you can bet, because most of these cases are over branding and marketing, and the really great thing about those is more often than not they end up being tortious litigation. So people have to pay out of pocket for not only the filing, but they have to pay the defense's fees because they acted in bad faith in a courtroom. Yeah. It's just it's the cherry on top. That's what makes all these cases so good. Is it's just people getting essentially slapped from the bench. Oh yeah, bench slap. That's another one.
Lula, like Lola.
Like lol, like laughing out loud.
Okay, because I'm looking for it's lawsuit.com.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Let me look.
That should be on there. Because I was looking through the Ozonian file, and that is actually cited as a documentary source, because all these guys want to do is just release lawsuits. They will pay the copying costs and everything just to reproduce these lawsuits.
Yeah, it's not coming up under that.
Should be, hold on. Yeah, oh, that's specifically Ozonian v. Herrera. Never mind. I forgot that they made that essentially a single serving site.
Yeah, whatever I typed in, I went to New York court system.
Yeah, that's it. That's so Dick has been paying his internet bill, because that's where that is supposed to redirect. I'm trying to find. Oh yeah, almost forgot about Above the Law, bench slaps. That's a bit more of a general search, or general.
You ever see that documentary, The Internet's Own Boy, the story about Aaron Swartz?
Oh yeah, that was kind of a tragic story.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
But hey, man, you get the docs out there, and if somebody's acting up enough or acting enough of a mick to have those things dropped, especially if it's the government acting a mick, those things need to get dropped. Those docs need to get dropped. I don't normally like doxing. I don't think people really...
I'm with you on that. I think most people are.
Yeah, I think private citizens for the most part should be private citizens, but once you go through the whistleblowing process and nothing seems to happen, like nobody's giving you a timely notice of your receipts or anything, you have to pretty much just go to WikiLeaks. It's like, as much as I'm not going to recommend that on the basis of legal advice, because I'm not qualified to give legal advice, but if the whistleblowing applications and all these government oversight committees don't give you anything to go off of to say, hey, you did a good thing, thanks for checking our back, you might as well go to WikiLeaks, because there's a chance they meant for that to happen, and you need to tell somebody who's an impartial actor. I mean, that's why all these guys defected. That's why.
Have we gotten to do any video yet?
Ooh,
I've got a link.
Intro. Let me.
You wanted to look at some of that Opie and Anthony thing.
Oh yeah, let's stick that.
I just posted.
But yeah, that's kind of weird to think about because I remember when that term was generic. I remember when it was a lol suit, not the lol suit. So it feels very odd to be talking about lol suit and talking about a very specific incident in spurious and vexatious litigation. It's like the opposite of what happened to Band-Aid or Kleenex. It's like it reproprietized itself. Oh, I forgot about the Navy SEAL sniper meme. Had some good posts.
I'm gonna post it.
But yeah, here's the funny thing is that, okay, so Landau, who's the guy representing Maddox, okay, what was supposed to happen is that it's supposed to be 20 million on the case, but since he didn't list a cause for action, it's going by per act, so that's why it's nearly $500 million in damages being sought in a New York court, which has thankfully been bumped up to commercial district because of the amount of money involved. I mean, even if he had had one count in his complaint, that would have been enough to bump it, because you can only sue for so much in personal injury law according to the state of New York, which I don't know why he filed it there, other than Kevin Landau's license there.
You're talking about the thing with the Maddox show?
Oh yeah,
The Nick show, whatever.
yeah.
I'm still not familiar with it. I've watched some of the videos about it. I never really got into like the whole like argument between Maddox and Dick, or why they stopped talking. I don't know the whole story behind it.
Oh yeah. So what happened is essentially Maddox has this harem thing with his exes, as far as I can tell, and Dick wanted to essentially leave a wedding that they both attended with the girl known as 80s Girl. And after a very oddly written please get back with me even though I'm already in a committed relationship, you're the best thing in my life, even though I should be saying that to my girlfriend. I mean, to be fair, he has been divorced before, and he never brought it up, and no one's ever brought it up, except now on air. I did it. I'm sorry, George.
I know nothing.
But
I really don't.
yeah, it. Just to give you the idea, he thinks, for whatever reason, that anything that Dax or Asterius posts to the internet, or their fans post to the internet, that they are directly responsible for that, as if it's a tortious complaint in and of itself. And that forms the bulk of the initial complaint. Like, the replies are just, it's night and day. Like, you see Landau's initial complaint, and then you see, I think it's Skibble and hold on, but yeah, one of the partners is named Skibble. The other one I forgot, and I'm not going to risk losing my place in the file because I'm still reading this. It's such a nice read. But essentially, Maddox is suing in the only jurisdiction where his butt hurt actually counts as a tortious complaint. If he had sued in California, which everybody does business in California, so the jurisdiction of impact would be California, if not a federal court, because of the whole, I don't know, Asterios Kokkinos situation. But essentially he's just going, wow, I played an internet tough guy. People were better at it than I was. Wow. It's like, it's okay. It's okay to cry, Maddox. It's okay to cry.
And what is this thing I heard about imitating Condé Nast?
Yes, and that's probably the worst part of this all, is that Maddox, keep in mind that he had Kevin Landau attest under penalty of perjury that the whole Heather incident happened as he popularly led people to believe that a Condé Nast reporter just happened to contact Asterios Kokkinos' publicity firm out of nowhere, when even their own records show that they knew this person hadn't fulfilled their due diligence as a press or as a reporter by disclosing their credentials, such as their editor, which you have to have in your signature, or at least somewhere attached to the document or in the document. Basically, you have to know they have to know who you answer to. Gotcha. And this character that he invented only had a first name and a last initial, Heather P. or something. So one of the SIR replies is an affidavit signed by George Ozonian himself, attesting that he indeed committed criminal impersonation and perjury. But nobody's going to go after him because Condé Nast doesn't care. He hasn't named them in the tort. They're not a party to this tort. So they literally have no legal standing to countermove against him for this. It's just, I'm just wondering, how do you avoid these mistakes? Because I remember a time when Maddox was an actual thing, and that's weird to think about, that this guy was an actual thing, and he could have just kept writing and done something else. You know, he could have kept up the site and just kept the Hollywood LA stuff under wraps, but he always has to brag about it because he doesn't know when to separate his gimmick from his business. And that's ultimately what led to the greatest problem in the universe, or greatest debate in the universe, whatever it was, led to that breaking up. Well, that, and also Dax going steady with someone in George's harem, even though George really had no right to expect that kind of thing to continue. It's just, it's manically possessive. It's like, if you have an ex, they're your ex for a good reason. You want to get tangled up in that again, be my guest, but don't be surprised if you go in there once and pull back a nub.
Right. So, like, before they split, was their show pretty big?
Yeah, it had the power to revive his rather flagging career. That's the funny thing, is that if he had just kept his mouth shut, rode Dax's coattails into the sunset, he could have...
about Dax Shepard, the actor?
Dax Herrera, the guy who plays Dick Masterson.
Okay.
But yeah, if he had just realized that Dick is a character, that Dax doesn't really have any problems with you, and just, you know, kept it separate, but he had to bring over himself when he brought Maddox to the screen. Like, he could have hired anyone else to portray Maddox. He could have just gone, all right, I'm giving up on doing all presences for Maddox. We're going to hire a trained bodybuilder from Austria who just so happens to look slightly hook-nosed or something. I don't know. They could have done anything. Like, keep in mind, this has been done before. People have done this before. Like, before Devin Green and the writer for Betty Bauer's America's Favorite Christian, or America's Best Christian, went all SJW, like, it was accepted, yeah, guy writes the books, guy does all the lines, but Devin Green is essentially the presence of Betty Bowers, and that's a really good arrangement. Especially considering it'd be really hard for a guy to get into a dress and then try to make that look good. It's something that I don't think people have really taken into consideration. If you don't have the body to play your shtick, if you don't have the voice to sound like an alpha man, if you're a nasally nosed Armenian, or if you're a nasally voiced Armenian, know nothing from Utah who quit their call center job in order to bank on Simon & Schuster paying them advances for the rest of his life while living in posh LA in a duplex under a bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta think at some point, you gotta go, okay, where can I find my associates? Where can I find the lowest cost of living? And it's definitely not LA.
No.
It's like he could have a better, he could just move back to Utah, have a green screen, and babble into a camera until the cows come home. And it's just like, you could have just shifted everything away. Like the moment that Dax started, you know, muscling it on your lady, so to speak, even though it wasn't your lady in the first place and all that, you know, already in a committed relationship. It's just, it's so weird. It's so weird to think that someone who had to have a restraining order put against them because they kept calling 80s Girl's place of work and essentially pretending to have hot goss on 80s Girl to get her fired from her teaching job. And it's like, at that moment, when you have somebody who's just doing their job, trying to educate our children, make a better society, not even involved in the podcast or any of that drama, the minute that they have to start filing restraining orders and start making restraining orders permanent is the moment you need to start realizing, maybe I'm not in the right place. I can go somewhere else, start over.
Right.
It's gonna be okay. But I don't get it. It's just like, I'm a potato and I can set up OBS and do the videos. I mean, obviously not that well, or we'd have our presence markers up, but you know, it's a flagship run, or a maiden run, I should say.
Look, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night.
That's cool. I think this was a good run.
Yeah.
First episode.
And from here on out, no more. I won't do any of that shit. All that stuff's resolved itself. My mom's getting a rental car probably tomorrow or the next day, so I won't have to drive and be out late. So I'll actually be around, 8 o'clock. I'm supposed to be. But we should try to figure out like a day, sometime, a week that we get together and discuss what we're gonna do, or
yeah,
we can meet up again, because I definitely want to talk some more about this off stream.
Yeah.
I was hoping my AV works a little bit better next time, but at least we filled 2 hours of air. That's not bad.
Absolutely.
That's not
Yeah,
bad at all.
I think we had a good run. I'll do like scrub, and I'll just go ahead and speed through some of these chat. Okay. Hey everybody, all 3 of you. 3 is the magic number. Hey, Welcome. How's everybody doing? Heading back to work. Join the Discord. Setting up for our first live stream. Sure, we can do that. Take your time. Hey, using the Chromebook to do this through YouTube. The first time I tried tripping on Ambien, I had a foot canyon. Is that racist? Especially if I lost. Be a part of the fun. Join our Discord. Bada bing. Sounds great. Volume are all equal. Voices are all equal volume. I didn't leave. In Discord. Night, y'all. Early conference tomorrow. We'll be listening. I lost all audio. Hang tight. And Discord too. And then, okay. All right. And I think we're caught up with chats.
All right. Thank you for joining us, especially if you're listening to this from the VOD.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And good day.
And don't forget to go to Streamlabs and support our stream.
Absolutely.
Yes. Smash that like button, too.
Or hit the dislike button, just so we know you're there.
Yes. Smash a button.
Smash something, for fuck's sake.
All right.
Rain delay, 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 radio, 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 rain delay, radio.
I know it may lie, I know la me la tu, per Murli, Murli.
Rain delay, 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 rain delay.